You know, it's easy to focus on the big splashy problems in your business, right? The ones you see right there.
All the obvious stuff.
Exactly. But what about those silent killers? The little things just constantly chipping away at your profitability.
The leaks?
Right. There's research, I think it was IDC. They suggest something pretty staggering, like 20 to 30% of a business's revenue can just be lost, gone, because of inefficient practices and processes.
It's huge when you think about it that way.
It really is. I mean, think about that. For every $1 million your business brings in, you could be unknowingly leaving maybe $300,000 just on the table.
Wow. That's money that could be going back into the business for growth or just profit.
Exactly. It's a massive drain on your bottom line. And, well, that's what we're diving into today. The hidden cost of inefficiency. How small operational leaks drain your bottom line.
Right. And our goal here isn't just, throwing numbers around. It's really about equipping you, the listener, with the insight to actually spot these hidden costs in your own company.
To see where the leaks are.
Precisely. We want to help you understand not just that they exist, but how they're hitting your bottom line and, maybe most importantly, what you can actually do about them.
Okay, so what kind of stuff did we look at for this?
Oh, quite a range. We dove into inspiring stories about lean manufacturing successes, companies really turning things around.
Like the big names.
Yeah, some big ones, but the principles apply anywhere. We also looked at practical ways to just identify and get rid of those everyday frictions in workflows.
The stuff that drives you crazy day to day?
Exactly. Then there's how business analytics can uncover hidden patterns, the power of different process improvement methods, quality management ideas,
Okay.
what you learn from industry benchmarks, insights from internal audits, looking beyond just the numbers, common money mistakes SMEs make, remote work productivity issues.
That's a big one now.
Definitely.
Oh.
The CPR framework, communication, planning, resources, simple but effective. That sneaky thing called technical debt.
Ah, yes, tech debt.
The benefits of digital transformation, why consistent processes matter, the real cost of just having bad processes, workflow automation, huge time saver.
Right.
Six Sigma, strategic planning, the impact of poor process management, stockouts, the direct financial hit there.
Yeah.
How to actually measure ROI on improvements.
Measuring is key.
Absolutely. Technology and automation, specifically for smaller businesses, tech in operations management generally, how inefficiency actually threatens SME growth, process mapping for clarity, RPA, robotic process automation.
Getting quite technical there.
A little, but it's relevant. And fundamentally, just the need for ongoing, consistent improvement. It's not a one-off.
Okay, that's a lot to unpack. So when we talk about these hidden costs, these leaks, where do they usually show up, especially for, small to medium-sized businesses, the kind many of our listeners run?
Well, one of the biggest culprits, and honestly, something many businesses still grapple with, is just relying too much on manual processes.
Still, even with all the tech available.
You'd be surprised. It's easy to think, oh, that's just how we do it, or, it doesn't take that long. But it adds up massively.
How much are we talking?
Studies suggest teams can waste over 20 hours every single week on tasks that could easily be automated.
20 hours a week per team.
Yeah. Think about your own team. Are there repetitive things that just seem to suck up time? Data entry, approvals, routing around, digging through spreadsheets.
Yeah, finally.
That's all time your team isn't spending on, more strategic work. Stuff that actually grows the business.
20 hours.
Okay.
Like you said earlier, it's almost like having a ghost employee just doing busy work a computer could handle.
Exactly.
You mentioned a healthcare provider example before. Can you walk us through that one again?
Sure. So this was a healthcare services provider, and they were really bogged down by data silos. Patient info was scattered across like 5 different systems, not connected.
Nightmare. Lots of retyping, I bet.
Tons of it. Same info, entered multiple times. So they brought in integrated software systems that talk to each other, share patient data automatically between the EHR, billing, scheduling.
Makes sense.
And the results were dramatic.
Yeah.
An 87% drop in data entry errors. Huge. But here's the interesting part. Employee satisfaction also jumped 23%.
Really? Why do you think that was?
Well, suddenly the staff weren't bogged down in tedious admin. They could spend more time focusing on actual patient care. It shows how fixing these inefficiencies ripples outwards. It's not just the bottom line, it's your team's well-being too.
That's a great point. Fixing the small stuff leads to big wins all around. And that fits nicely with the next point, right? Poor process management. It's not just single tasks, but the whole flow.
Exactly.
Yay.
Your business is like a machine, right?
Hmm.
If the processes how the machine runs are clunky or inefficient, it's going to cost you big time. Potentially inefficient processes can cost businesses up to 30% of their annual revenue. And think about employee time. Something like 26% of a productive workday can be eaten up just navigating friction, working around bad workflows.
Wow. 30% revenue, or over a quarter of your team's time. Those are serious numbers. So what are the warning signs? How would someone listening know if their business is struggling with this? What should they look for?
Okay, well, there were quite a few red flags. Are you seeing frequent data entry errors? Do your employees complain a lot about how things get done? Is there no single consistent way of doing things?
Hmm.
Are customer complaints often getting escalated? Are deadlines consistently missed? Do you have processes that just seem pointless now? Bottlenecks in approvals. Things just get stuck.
That approval bottleneck one sounds familiar.
Very common. Are your core processes just stagnant?
Hmm?
Never reviewed or improved? Is miscommunication between teams like a regular thing? Is data hard to find when you need it? Or lost sometimes?
Oof. Yeah.
Are you still using really outdated tech that actually slows people down? Is employee turnover higher than you'd like? That's often a symptom of frustration with the system.
Interesting link.
Definitely. Long hiring processes, people spending way too long on repetitive stuff, lack of standardization. Are your operating costs just high? You can't quite figure out why.
Yeah.
Failing to meet customer demand and ultimately low customer satisfaction.
Okay, that's quite a list.
They're all connected signals, often pointing to deeper process issues. And remember, like we said, that constant friction. It impacts mental well-being too, disengagement, burnout. It's real.
It paints a picture I think a lot of business owners could probably relate to, at least parts of it. Knowing the symptoms is step one, for sure. You also mentioned having a live, easy-to-use process library. Why is that important?
Think of it like your business's playbook, but a living one, constantly updated. Your processes are how you deliver value.
Right.
A live library makes sure everyone knows the best way to do things. No reinventing the wheel, no making stuff up, no using old info. It's the single source of truth. Easy to update, easy for everyone to access, drives consistency, cuts errors, saves time.
That makes total sense. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Another area where costs hide. Lack of clear spending rules and budgeting. Seems basic, maybe, but I guess lots of smaller businesses struggle here.
You're absolutely right. It might seem like Business 101, but without a proper budget, you're essentially flying blind.
No map, like you said.
Exactly. You can't accurately assess your financial health, plan for growth properly, or forecast reliably. And this fuzziness leads to problems that slowly eat away at profits. Spending money in the wrong places, missing good investment opportunities, or even facing unexpected cash crises. And the stats back this up. Neglecting proper budgeting and financial planning. It's a big reason why so many SMEs fail. Some studies say up to 60% within just 3 years.
60%. Wow. That really hammers home how critical this is. Do you have an example of how better budgeting actually helped a business?
Yeah, we worked with a retail client. They had serious cash flow issues. Sales were okay, but they kept running short of cash at bad times.
Stressful.
Very. So they implemented a rolling 13-week cash flow forecast. Every week, they'd project income and expenses for the next 13 weeks, then review and update it.
So constantly looking ahead.
Exactly. It gave them much better visibility. They could see potential shortfalls coming, adjust inventory buys so they weren't tying up too much cash, optimize staffing based on expected sales.
Smart. And the result?
A 22% improvement in their cash conversion cycle. They were turning sales into actual cash much faster. It wasn't about slashing costs everywhere. It was about making smarter, data-driven choices with their money.
That proactive, forward-looking approach seems key there. Okay, let's talk inventory. Poor inventory management. That feels like it hits the bottom line very directly, doesn't it? Empty shelves, losing sales, or warehouses full of the wrong stuff tying up cash.
Oh, absolutely. Both sides of that coin are costly. Stockouts alone. Globally, retail loses something like $1.75 trillion a year because customers can't find what they want.
Trillion. That's insane.
It is. And it's not just the lost sale. Research shows 91% of consumers who hit a stockout are less likely to return to that retailer. You lose the customer, potentially for good.
Wow. Long-term damage.
And then there are the extra costs, trying to fix it, expedited shipping, dealing with unhappy customers. About 43% of retailers report extra supply chain costs just because of stockouts.
And like you said, it's not just not having enough. Having too much is also bad,
Yeah.
right? The wrong stuff piling up.
Definitely. Big hidden costs if you're not doing regular inventory rebalancing. You've got capital just sitting there in excess stock. Plus higher storage costs, space, utilities, insurance, risk of spoilage or things becoming obsolete, especially with fast-moving goods.
And then you have to discount it heavily just to get rid of it.
Right, killing your margins. Good inventory management is a real balancing act. Needs accurate forecasting, regular reviews. It's tough.
Moving on to something we can all relate to. Inefficient meetings. The productivity black hole.
They certainly can feel that way. That CPR framework we mentioned, communication, planning, resources, it's actually really useful for dissecting why meetings often fail.
How so?
Well, meeting problems almost always come down to a breakdown in one of those three. Poor communication, misunderstandings, no clear goal, lack of planning, unfocused chat, goes off rails, misuse of resources, too many people, wrong tech, not enough time, wrong kind of time.
Makes sense.
So before you jump on the latest fancy meeting software, it's worth asking some basic questions. What's the real purpose? What do we actually need to achieve? Who really needs to be there? Is the agenda clear? Time allocated? Are we using the right tools?
Good checklist.
Answering those basics helps you figure out if a new tool is even the answer, or if the problem lies elsewhere. Saves time and money in the long run.
Really practical questions. Everyone running or attending meetings should probably ask those. Now, HR misalignment. That's maybe not the first thing people think of with operational efficiency.
Yeah.
How does managing people impact efficiency?
It can have a surprisingly big impact, and it's often overlooked. Our research shows something like 82% of businesses have some HR misalignment.
82%. How does that show up?
Often, HR isn't looped into business strategy early enough. Or there isn't strong collaboration between HR and the C-suite on the big picture stuff. When HR is kind of off in its own silo,
Right.
disconnected from the main business goals, you get a disconnect in your talent strategy. Harder to attract and keep the right people, development isn't aligned with needs. It drags down the whole organization's performance.
And there's a human cost too, right? You had some stats on satisfaction.
Absolutely. When HR isn't aligned, it hits morale and productivity. Employee satisfaction is only around 61%, and a huge 82% of employees admitted looking for a new job recently, often citing pay and culture.
82% are looking elsewhere.
Wow. Yeah. And interestingly, while HR leaders think they're providing growth opportunities, they still struggle with staffing and retention. Suggests a disconnect. Maybe what HR offers isn't what employees actually want or need. There's also a perception gap about internal jobs. More men, 21%, cited misalignment with management as why they didn't look internally compared to only 9% of women. These disconnects fuel turnover, raise costs, lose knowledge, all hitting efficiency.
It really shows HR needs to be a strategic partner, not just admin. Okay, briefly now, technical debt. That sounds ominous. How does that hurt efficiency?
Think of it as the bill coming due for past tech shortcuts. Running old operating systems, outdated network gear, because upgrading seemed too much hassle or cost at the time.
Kicking the can down the road.
Exactly. Or poorly written code that's hard to update, skipping essential maintenance. These things seem okay short-term, but technical debt is like a constant drag. More system failures, security risks, makes it harder and costlier to add new features, higher maintenance bills later.
Like ignoring a leaky pipe until it bursts.
Perfect analogy. Finally, let's talk automation. It's hyped up a lot. What are the real, tangible efficiency benefits of workflow automation? When done right, it's a genuine game changer. Basically, using tech to streamline processes and automate those repetitive manual tasks that eat time and invite errors.
Freeing people up.
Exactly. Frees up your team for higher value work creativity, problem-solving, strategy. Plus, big cost savings from reduced labor and fewer mistakes. You also get more visibility into your processes via mapping and digital trails. Helps spot bottlenecks you didn't even know you had.
Better communication, too.
Yeah, it can really improve coordination between departments, tasks routed correctly, info shared seamlessly, faster turnarounds, which leads to better customer service. In fact, something like 84% of execs see automation as critical for good customer service.
And quality.
Potentially improves product or service quality too, because automated tasks are consistent, fewer errors. Plus, you get great data for tracking performance and finding more areas to improve. Okay, so we've covered a lot of the common problems, the places these links hide. Let's shift now to some real-world examples. Companies, maybe some listeners know, who've successfully tackled this stuff. You mentioned lean manufacturing success stories. Give us some highlights.
Absolutely. Lean, as we said, is all about cutting waste, maximizing customer value, and it works across so many industries. Take Siemens AG, their Amberg factory in Germany. It's practically a lights-out factory.
Yeah.
Highly automated, data-driven. They call it digital lean manufacturing. Great example of combining lean ideas with Industry 4.0 tech.
Wow. Okay. Who else?
Then there's Nike. Massive scale. They have a program called Manufacturing Excellence across over 500 factories globally. It covers everything. Lean training, standardizing layouts for better flow, quick changeover techniques, SMED, they call it, using pull systems based on actual demand, even integrating sustainability into their lean
That
efforts.
impressive scope. What about actual results? Any hard numbers?
Airbus is a fascinating case. Complex industry, right? Through lean, they reported achieving $2 billion in annual cost savings. $2 billion with a B.
Yep. And a 16% headcount reduction through attrition, not layoffs.
Hmm.
Faster assembly time by 30%, less inventory, clogging things up by 40%, and they increased production rates by 25% in existing facilities, just by optimizing processes.
Incredible transformation.
And GE Healthcare, too. They implemented lean in medical device manufacturing, a super highly regulated field. Shows lean isn't just for car factories. It's adaptable.
Those results are amazing. So for listeners maybe just starting to think about this, what are the key lessons from these stories? What can they actually do?
Okay, several key takeaways. First, understand your current process before you change anything. Use tools like value stream mapping. Know where the problems actually are.
Don't just jump in.
Right. Second, you need strong leadership. Vision, commitment for the long haul. It's not a quick fix. It takes persistence. Third, it's a cultural shift. Get everyone involved in thinking about improvement, spotting waste.
Got it.
Fourth, be systematic about eliminating waste. Use structured methods. Fifth, always focus on customer value. Efficiency should ultimately mean a better product or service for them. And finally, integrate lean into your overall strategy. Don't treat it like a side project. It needs to be part of the company's DNA.
Really solid advice. Now, analytics. We touched on that. How are companies using data, which everyone seems to have tons of, to get more efficient?
Oh, analytics is huge for smarter decisions. Look at retail. Zara uses analytics brilliantly to streamline everything from design to getting clothes in stores super fast, lets them react quickly to trends, cuts lead times way down.
So it's customer facing too.
Definitely. And Coca-Cola uses big data to really understand consumers, allowing for super targeted marketing that boosts loyalty and sales.
Makes sense. What about internally?
Siemens, besides their lean stuff, uses analytics to optimize energy use and processes, scheduling machines for off-peak hours, predictive maintenance to stop breakdowns before they happen, saves money, prevents downtime.
Predictive maintenance, yeah.
Toyota, lean pioneers, now mix IoT and AI for even better predictive maintenance and quality control. Less waste, more efficient. Financial sector. HSBC uses advanced analytics for risk management, customer segmentation, fraud detection.
Right.
Even Patagonia uses data analysis to track and improve their environmental impact. And think Domino's Pizza, they use marketing analytics to get a complete customer picture, online and off, for really precise marketing.
It's amazing how broad the applications are, just using the data you already have often. You also mentioned RPA, robotic process automation. Tell us about that example.
Right, SF Supply Chain. They provide logistics solutions, FMCG, auto, medical, tech.
Yeah.
They made RPA a key part of their digital strategy. The goal was to simplify, optimize, standardize operations.
Yeah, what did the robots do?
They use software robots for the repetitive, rule-based stuff, invoice processing, data entry, routine reports. This boosted their operational efficiency significantly and improved service quality for their clients too. Freed up their people for the complex thinking work.
Makes sense. And finally, process mapping. You said it's often underestimated. Why is just drawing out a process so beneficial?
Well, process mapping is just visually laying out all the steps, start to finish. Sounds simple, but it's powerful.
How so?
That visual makes it way easier to spot bottlenecks, redundancies, problem areas you might miss otherwise. It helps everyone involved see how departments connect, improves collaboration. If something goes wrong, the map makes root cause analysis much easier. You can see exactly where it broke down. Ultimately, clear, understood processes lead to better internal communication and better customer service.
Okay, so we've seen problems, we've seen solutions in action. Let's circle back to the money, the financial impact. You started with that IDC stat, 20–30% of revenue lost. Can you break down how these small leaks really add up financially for a typical business?
Yeah, the costs hit from multiple angles, some less obvious than others. We mentioned stockouts losing trillions in retail globally. But think about customer friction, too. Getting a new customer costs, what, 5 to 10 times more than keeping one?
Right, everyone knows that one.
And when inefficient processes lead to bad experiences, long hold times, wrong orders, unresolved issues, customers leave, that churn costs U.S. businesses about $35 billion a year. Poor customer service itself, another $62 billion lost annually. And when customers feel ignored, $75 billion.
Just feeling ignored costs $75 billion. Wow.
Yeah. Then there's that time vacuum from manual tasks. Over 20 hours a week per team, remember. Think of the wasted salary costs right there.
Yeah.
Significant money spent on low-value work.
Definitely adds up.
But the flip side is the savings potential. Remember that manufacturing client saved $120,000 in 1 year just from employee suggestions on process improvements, and the distribution company. They saw a clear ROI by fixing their warehouse system after tracking losses from errors like mispicks and returns. It's real money staying in your pocket.
Those figures really hit home. It definitely underscores why tackling this is so important. So for businesses listening who are thinking, okay, I see some of this in my company and they want help, what kinds of consulting solutions are out there?
There's a whole range of specialized help available. Lean and Six Sigma consultants, for instance, they bring proven methodologies. Lean, from Toyota, focuses on systematically cutting out all waste.
Waste elimination, got it.
Six Sigma aims to minimize variations and defects, strives for near perfection, like fewer than 3.4 defects per million chances. It uses data heavily, often the DMAIC method, define, measure, analyze, improve, control.
Very structured.
Very. Now, some experts, like Duran, saw Six Sigma as maybe a basic version of quality improvement, but its strength is creating specialists and getting measurable data-backed results, though some criticize it for potentially stifling creativity if it's too rigid.
Interesting perspective.
But adaptations like the Danaher Business System show lean principles work way beyond just manufacturing. They're versatile.
Okay, and what about leveraging all that data we talked about?
That's where business analytics consultants shine. They help you unlock the value in your data. Things like better inventory forecasting, more personalized marketing, sharper risk management, improving operational efficiency and quality, optimizing logistics, even supporting sustainability goals by tracking impact data.
And HR. We talked about misalignment there. Consultants for that.
Oh yes, HR consultants focus on optimizing your people strategy, improving recruitment, boosting employee engagement, designing effective training and development, really helping align HR with the overall business goals we discussed.
Right. And for the really big picture stuff, operations, overall strategy.
Operations consultants dig into your end-to-end processes to find major efficiency gains. Strategic planning consultants help you craft that long-range vision, get everyone on board, and build actionable plans to reach your goals.
Building consensus sounds key there.
It is. That facilitated approach builds alignment, increases impact, guides decisions, stops you drifting off mission. Often, bringing in an external planner actually saves time and money compared to doing it all internally.
It sounds like there's specialist help for almost any pain point. What about specific tools or methods businesses can use themselves?
Yeah, definitely. Beyond the big frameworks like Lean and Six Sigma, there are practical tools. The 5 Whys technique, simple but powerful for finding root causes. Just keep asking why until you get there.
Simple but effective.
And involving your team, the stakeholders, and co-creating solutions. That's crucial for making changes stick. Then there's workflow automation software tool like cFlow, many others. They provide the tech to automate those repetitive tasks, boosting efficiency and accuracy.
And internal audits. You mentioned going beyond numbers.
Right. When internal audits dig into the why behind the data, not just checking boxes, they uncover huge insights for risk management, efficiency gains, better resource use. The key is developing realistic action plans from those findings and focusing on the high-impact changes first.
Got it. And you mentioned the ROI methodology and CPR framework too. How do they fit?
The ROI methodology gives you a structured way to measure the financial return of your improvement projects. You set clear objectives, collect data, isolate the project's effects, turn those effects into dollar values where possible, and calculate the actual ROI. Helps you make smart investment decisions.
Proves it was worth doing.
Exactly. And the CPR framework, communication, planning, resources, remember that. It's a super practical lens you can apply almost anywhere in the business. Meetings, projects, workflows. Just ask. Is communication clear? Is planning adequate? Are resources used well? It helps pinpoint root causes quickly.
Okay, wow. We've covered a ton of ground, from finding the hidden costs to all these different solutions and experts. So boiling it down, what's the real value for listeners in actually doing something about this? Committing to efficiency.
I think the most crucial takeaway is that efficiency isn't a project you finish. It's an ongoing commitment, a journey.
Continuous improvement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need regular process reviews, a culture that rewards improvement ideas from everyone, staying aware of new tech, being flexible with resources. Doing that creates a business that's not just more profitable, but also more agile, more resilient.
Ready for change.
Precisely. By tackling these seemingly small leaks, you unlock significant bottom-line improvements, free up time and money for strategy, boost morale by removing frustrations, and ultimately, you position your business for stronger, more sustainable growth. It's fundamental.
Absolutely. Okay, so to quickly recap our deep dive today, those hidden costs of inefficiency, they're real and they add up, seriously impacting your profitability. But the good news is there are proven methods, practical tools, and expert help available to find them, measure them, and fix them. Now, we always like to leave you with some concrete next steps, things you can actually do in your business, maybe starting today. Now, we always like to leave you with some concrete next steps, things you can actually do in your business, maybe starting today. First, pick just one core process, something you suspect isn't working quite right, maybe order processing, customer inquiries, expense claims, whatever, and just try mapping it out step by step. Use a flowchart, sticky notes, whatever works. Process mapping, like we said, brings amazing clarity.
Just seeing it visually helps so much.
Totally. Second, try to figure out the full cost of that process, not just materials, but labor time, overhead, maybe even the opportunity cost. What else could that time or money be doing?
Get the real number.
Third, based on that map and cost, brainstorm maybe 3 potential improvements. Could lean ideas help? Can something be automated? Is it just better planning or communication needed?
Keep it simple to start.
Right. And finally, pick one of those improvements, the easiest one, maybe, implement it, even on a small scale. And then this is key, measure the results. Use that ROI thinking. Did it save time, cut errors, improve satisfaction, track the impact?
Got to measure to know if it worked.
Exactly. Okay, here's a final thought for you to chew on. What do you suspect is the single biggest, maybe hidden inefficiency lurking in your business right now? And honestly, what could the impact be on your bottom line, your team, your stress levels if you actually manage to fix it? We really encourage you to explore the ideas and resources we've talked about today. Think about how these insights can lead to a more profitable, efficient, and frankly, more successful future for your business. We're all about helping you turn those challenges into real opportunities.